Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we have not only a ton of great weekend mission decks for you, that means decks with Galacta, decks with Luna, and decks with Luna and Galacta. We also have the new number one deck in Marvel Snap. The number one player currently is Desperate Jill, and we have that Desperate Jill deck for you. It does not run Luna or Galacta, but we have to start off with Jet, who's got like a 74% win rate with a Phoenix Force Surfer. Yeah, you heard that right. Why is Misery and Phoenix Force in this list? Because Jet. That's why. All right, you can find Jet at twitch.tv/Jet13. Jet spent two different seasons at number two on the Infinite Leaderboard. He's one of the best players in the world. He plays exclusively decks that run Phoenix Force. That used to mean classic pure Phoenix Force, but since the release of Misery, there's been a lot of experimentation, and this is the newest brew. This is, however, not a cheap deck. I'm sorry, we will have more cheap decks for you later this video. This needs everything but Grandmaster, and Grandmaster is series dropping to Series 4 next Tuesday. All right, all but Misery, every single high series card but Misery is a former season pass card. I know I've been taking heat for this lately, but it's still true. Zabu, Surfer for no reason, Hope, Shaw, Galacta, and Gwenpool are all former season pass cards. Again, if you can in any way, shape, or form afford the season pass, you're doing yourself a disservice if you play a lot of Marvel Snap by not getting it. Grandmaster for this list can be Hood because Hood is really good too with Misery. All right, so this list went 61 and 20 with a 74% win rate. Seems good. I'm unclear how much of that is that Jet is the absolute master of the Phoenix Force and how much of that is otherwise just like Marvel Snapness, but it is worth noting that like Jet has absolutely crushed with this list. Turn one is Zabu. Turn two, Psylocke into Gwen or Galacta. You can Grandmaster on Zabu if you have all your fours in your deck, because making fours twos feels like cheating. Turn three, you have Galacta over Gwenpool, over Hope, over Brood. Although you can sometimes do silly things with Brood into Misery into Phoenix Force. Works just fine as a way to get a bunch of threes out for Surfer. Turn four, Galacta over Gwenpool, over Misery on Gwenpool, or Absorbment on Brood. Nice and simple, right? You can Misery Gwenpool or Brood if you get them out early, or you can obviously, and if you have Phoenix Force, so much the better. Or you can play Galacta because Galacta is freaking OP, Gwenpool, or Absorbment Brood. Turn five, Phoenix Force, or get threes out if you haven't been getting threes out, and now's a good time to make sure that you get a bunch of them out. And then turn six is threes and Surfer. Sometimes that's a cheap Phoenix Force and Surfer. You get the gist. We're going to look at the current rank one deck after this, the very first of the season. But first, props to Jet for this ridiculously creative list. I think, look, you mostly want to Phoenix Force Brood and Gwenpool in this, but like there's games where you'll Phoenix Force a Zabu or a Surfer or something and just say let's go to town, or a Psylocke, and then you can do a Surfer Absorbing Man combo to end the game, right? Like there's a lot of ways to do really cool stuff with this list. Jet is an absolute genius of deck building with specifically the card Phoenix Force. Props to Jet. Before we go further, I'd like to invite you to hit that sub button if you're willing. We're trying to hit 16,000 subs by the end of 2024, and we're only like 300 away. So it sure looks like we're going to get there, but we need your support to ensure it. We're going to be going for 25,000 subs by the end of next year. So if you could hit that sub button now, it would really help us achieve our goals. And in return, we're going to give you 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos. This week will in fact have 8 videos, not 7, as we cover some major controversy in Marvel Snap along with our podcast that comes out tomorrow. Please hit that sub button. You don't want to miss out. A like and comment also help us fight the YouTube algorithm and show YouTube that it is worth sharing our video with more people. Your like and comment also enters you to win a free Galacta. If you're still looking for the card Galacta, who we'll be reviewing within 5 minutes or so, then you should absolutely 100% subscribe, like, and then later this video, I'm going to tell you to leave a comment. You leave that comment, and all of a sudden, someone in this comment section will be winning Galacta. Now, what's notable is this is Friday, right? So Monday's video has a Galacta, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and now Fridays. Every single video this week, if you comment the specific thing you're supposed to comment, like, and are subbed, then you are entered to win Galacta. So if you're willing to, it's our way of giving back to the community. Next week, we're giving away another Galacta as well. We're just not giving away 5 every week. I will run out of money eventually. Our number one deck right now is Desperate Jill at on Arishem. This is a really, really, really mean Arishem list. I happened to be hanging out in Dexter's stream earlier. You've probably heard of Dexter if you're here. Dexter's one of the most popular and prominent Marvel Snap and variety streamers. And he absolutely got wrecked by this list. This list is incredibly strong. It does a ton of really unfair things. I, I, my Christmas wish is that next week they just take care of Arishem. I know they're considering it because they asked the community on their Discord what their community thinks of Arishem right now, and the community was really, really spread out on their opinions of Arishem. So I do know that like, oh, I pressed the button. Excuse me. So I do know that they're at least considering it, and I think it would be a wonderful Christmas gift to the community to just be like, maybe this needs to get tuned in or redesigned a little bit. So I think that is going to happen. But for at least until then, if you want to hit Infinite, there are very few lists better to do so with than this. This puts up so much power, it is utterly brutal to play against. You can find Desperate Jill at Twitter with the Zuzia with the following numbers. Just copy them. This deck needs Arishem, Alioth, and Mockingbird. Red Guardian can be Rogue, and Legion can be Vision. Legion steals victories, Red Guardian steals victories, but Vision and Rogue are perfectly fine replacements. Turn by turn for Arishem is always a little bit funky. This is what you do if you suddenly draw all your real cards. Rank 1, Quinjet. Rank 2, Coulson over Quinjet or Red Guardian, pending if there's a really great Red Guardian target. There's usually not on turn 2. That's a thing you do later in the game. But Coulson is unbelievable and one of the top win rate Arishem cards in the game, as confirmed to us on the podcast by Glenn Jones, the lead designer of Marvel Snap. Agent Coulson is one of the key indicators of Arishem decks winning, along with Blob, which isn't in this. Excuse me. Nick Fury or Agent Coulson is your turn 3 play. If you played Coulson, you usually want to play a Coulson card or other stuff, not Fury. You don't really want to fill your hand in cloud draws. Unless you have like a really great turn 4 play, in which case you can because you just take 3 6-drops that you can play on 5 and 6. Turn 4, Legion, Mockingbird, or generated cards. Turn 5, Magneto or Alioth. Turn 6, Shang-Chi, Shadow King nonsense, Shang-Chi, Red Guardian nonsense, or Magneto or Alioth. And then you win. And like odds are you don't actually play a lot of these cards. You play completely random stuff. I lost to a generated Shadow King and Viper randomly earlier. So, shit happens in this list. Play the cards you're dealt. You have extra energy and a ton of power. You'll be fine. We're going to cover a Galacta deck and Galacta itself next, but one last look at this number 1 ranked deck. I'd also like to note that I have 10 of the food fight variants just from opening shit in Marvel Snap. I have this Alioth, I have this Cosmo, and I'm really, really happy because I think that these are absolutely adorable, but also notable. We're going to review this Shadow King bundle in a little bit. So if you're curious about whether that Shadow King bundle is worth it, the one that this variant came from, I'm going to tell you after I believe the next deck. But first, we got to do a weekend review for Galacta. Galacta, or as my friend Roy would say, Galactica, is one of the best Season Pass cards released. They've been absolutely killing it with Season Pass cards for the last little bit. Symbiote Spider-Man was a miss, but Kate Bishop, Gwenpool, Galacta, we'll talk about Agent Venom later, and Surtur are all hits. They're all cards that go in multiple decks that take archetypes that weren't especially powerful and bring them up to tier 1. Is Galacta too strong? It's borderline. I think she could stand to be a 4-5 or a 4-4. I don't think they will touch her other ability, and thus I think she is absolutely a worthwhile buy. I think Galacta is the kind of card you want. It opens up deck building, it goes in a ton of shells, and it finally makes that hand buff deck that we've been trying to make good for so long actually sing. Super Tech Gods Day 1 Infinite is going to be the first Galacta straight deck we talk about. This one's really, really cool. Super Tech God is one of our favorite Marvel Snap content creators. We're hosting a tournament with him. If you're from New York, we're going to be in Brooklyn, which is like a LAN bar. On December 22nd, hosting a tournament. We're going to host an online tournament before then, where the winner of that online tournament is going to face the winner of the Brooklyn tournament for a couple $100. If you want to make some money playing Marvel Snap, check that out. But Super Tech God hit this really, really cool list that's like this strange combination of cards. And I don't know if you know this, but if you have a successful Kang deck, I'm probably going to feature it here on the channel. Kang is absolutely brilliant here. Is it required? Nah, but it is very cool. So Zabu, Pixie, Galacta, and War Machine are all absolutely required cards. Galacta you could sort of try Gwenpool for, but like Galacta's really, really way better here because you're not playing a lot of cards. So if Gwenpool hits the wrong stuff, you're just kind of sad. But you've got Oh, also, Wasp and Galacta have really cool synergy because you can Galacta and Wasp on the same turn, and then you get the extra trigger off Galacta. And now Galacta is a 4/15, which seems like it's pretty good. Kang can be Mobius or Juggernaut. What you're doing with Kang is for this type of list, what you're trying to do is you're trying to either skip turn 5 or 6 so that you can double She-Hulk Infinite on the last turn of the game. If you're skipping a turn, you might as well Kang that turn to see if your opponent's going to blow up your limbo, if they're going to do something you need to interact with or change your plans, which I think is a very cool way to go about using Kang. So props to Super Tech God for coming up with this really awesome idea. Super Tech God went 12 and 3, 80% with plus freaking 50 cubes, which is just shouldn't be possible. And Zodrex went 11 and 5 with 69% with plus 28 cubes. So this deck is farming right now, friends. Zabu over Sunspot, Pixie over Zabu over Sunspot on turn 2, Hope or Magic on turn 3. I tend to prefer Hope, but it's up to you. War Machine on Hope or Magic, or Galacta or Jessica Jones on Hope. So if you have War Machine, you just want to get out War Machine, right? Because that lets you play your cards without any restrictions. Now you don't have to worry about the Infinite negative part. Infinite's Super Deck God's favorite card, so obviously he's constantly sharing Infinite decks. But War Machine just solves you a lot of problems, right? If you didn't have Hope, you need to get out Magic. Galacta is obviously just a ton of power, a ton of targeted power. And if you're going to drop a card and then not play on the next turn, particularly on Hope, then Jessica Jones is just really great stats. Turn 5 is pass on Kang, or you can drop a 4 if this is already a 7-turn game, or play Magic to make it a 7-turn game. Turn 6 is Infinite on She-Hulk, and if you played on Hope on turn 3, sorry, you played Hope on 3, you played on Hope on turn 4, and you pass on turn 5, you can Infinite on She-Hulk on 6. She-Hulk will be free, Infinite will be 6. You're all set. Or if you played Magic, you can pass 6 and then do that on 7, and then you obviously don't need Hope because passing 6 energy is a free She-Hulk. Really simple, very strong, cool list. Next two decks we're going to talk about, because we've now talked about 2 Galacta decks today, are going to be decks for Luna without Galacta, then 2 with both. So one last look at Super Tech God's awesome list, and you know you want to play Kang, right? Like you're going to play this list because you want to play Kang. Also, you might notice there's no turn by turn whenever for like when you play Pixie, because when you play Pixie, the turn by turn goes up in the air. All right, next up we have Luna Snow, who is an on reveal, add an ice cube to each side of this location. At the start of each turn, get +1 energy, then destroy this if your side here is full. She's a 3/5. Um, I think Luna sucks right now. She's probably got a home, but no one's begun to find it. We're going to look at 2 Luna Snow decks, and both of these Luna Snow decks are very fun, but I don't think either of them are as good as other versions of the same decks. I think that Luna right now is in the wrong homes and not working. She's going to be the easiest skip in months if this continues. Uh, it's really hard to tell how good she is because very few people are actually messing with her, but so far, not so good. All right, so the Husky Pile Cold, I think he named this. I don't remember what he named this. I should know what he named this, but I totally forgot it. Husky had this wonderful deck that ran Black Swan in this 2-drop spot and was able to just sort of go off for a million points. It's been one of the best decks of the last season, and you could try with Luna Snow because the deck sort of falls apart fairly often if it doesn't see Electro. And now you have Luna Snow, who acts as sort of a backup Electro. Also pretty freaking solid with Misery, if you're curious. So overall, this is a very, very good list, a very powerful list, but Luna's still significantly worse than Black Swan on the list. This is a worse version. This is, in fact, that list that Dexter was playing that I saw him get beat with to that Arishem. Again, I spoke to Husky about this earlier. Husky and I chatted, and he was like, "This is just worse than the regular." And I know that, but we need to feature some Luna Snow decks because you don't get the extra. What is it? Tokens. You don't get the extra tokens for playing Black Swan in this list this weekend, right? So if you do get Luna Snow, if you did buy Luna Snow, which I don't recommend, but some people already have it, right? So if you did get Luna Snow, you might as well get the tokens, get some rebate. That is why you play this list. You can find Husky Puppies at twitch.tv/HuskyPuppies35. He's one of the best Marvel Snap players in the world and a genuine, wonderful, wonderful streamer. This deck needs Blink, War Machine, Misery, and Goliath. Hydra Bob can be Ant-Man or Kate Bishop. Luna Snow can be Black Swan and probably should be. So this is the Husky pile, but worse. So turn 1 is Hood over Bob. Turn 2 is another 1. Again, now you have to play your 1s. How gross is that? When you have Black Swan, you can hold them and mess around. Not anymore. Turn 3 is Luna or Electro. It depends what you have. If you're going to Misery, then you want Electro, although Electro is fine with Luna. If you're going to play War Machine, Electro is better because then you're not giving them energy. You can blink out Luna or Electro just fine. Um, and if you didn't hit Luna or Electro, now you're going to play Jubilee. Turn 5 is the same as either 4 or 6. If you got the energy and have the cards, you're going to do a 6. And if not, you're going to do a 5. So, and then turn 6 is Lithe, Infinite, or Magneto. And if you can do any of those with an extra 1, so be it. Ideally, that's Ebony Maw because you got War Machine out. That's it. Nice and simple. Really cool. Really strong. Do we need Luna? Meh. We're going to look at one more Luna. We've got more Infinite today than we've had in ages because Luna means ramp and Super Tech God means ramp, means Infinite. So that's how we are here. But this is a very cool list that you should give a try. The One Who Knocks is the current 4,500 gold Shadow King bundle, and this is one of the best gold bundles they have ever put in the game. This is the best gold bundle that has been in the game since Spotlight Caches came to the game. You should 100%, if you can in any way, shape, or form, afford this. I bought this. This is an A plus tier, S tier bundle. This is the best gold value we've gotten. Buy this bundle. If you need to spend to buy this bundle, get it. It's great. Speaking of spending to get this bundle, we also have the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. bundle, which comes with Mockingbird, Wasp, 5,000 credits, 5,000 gold, a spotlight key, and 2 metallic silver borders. I've gone back and forth on buying this 50 times. I did buy it for a friend as a birthday present. Um, this Wasp is gorgeous. So this is 181% progress, which is fine. 173 is average, 200 is usually about what we recommend. However, there's one big caveat. If you don't own Mockingbird, this is damn near a must buy. The value of this shoots up. You can add an extra 6,000 tokens of value to this bundle if you don't own Mockingbird. Good? So if you don't own Mockingbird, I feel like this is an absolute must buy steal. It goes up to one of the best bundles ever. If you do own Mockingbird, then you can choose to get or skip it based on what you want to do with these resources. It is a really, really nice variety of resources and some pretty cool borders and really great variants, so I understand the interest in the bundle. But if you own Mockingbird, it's just kind of there. Season Pass question. Would you like to win a Season Pass? What you answer is, if you could have any card in Snap, what would it be? This could be a revert of a nerf, a card you don't own, or a dream card. Next up, we have Robo's 5 a.m. fun. The reason that I'm featuring this is that Robotussin made this day one of the season and stayed up until 5 a.m. And this is a man with a job, stayed up till 5 a.m. playing this because he could not stop playing it. He was having such a good time. One of the best ways to play Luna Snow right now is with Sarah or Professor X. A lot of what she wants to do is get a 5 out on 4. And Professor X is one of the 2 5s, along with Sarah, that you really, really, really want to get out early. Hence, this list makes a lot of sense by combining those 2 cards, Luna Snow and Professor X. You can also occasionally cheese out games by getting out an early Legion. Yeah, very, very cool list. So you can find Robo at twitch.tv/robo_plays. This deck needs War Machine, Luna, Jeff, and Madam Web. You do want the extra movers, the extra ways to get into an Ebony Maw lane because you'll play an Ebony Maw cold early. You need to be able to get into Professor X lane. Jeff, Madam Web do that too. War Machine and Luna are required. Again, War Machine does the same thing with Professor X and with the Infinite and Ebony Maw, while Luna is your ramp card, and this is a ramp deck. You'll note that Luna is being used a lot just kind of with Electro as an extra Electro. Electro is not really a meta card outside of the Husky pile, and we just talked about that. Legion can be Vision here. An extra mover is good. Legion's great, but an extra mover is very good. And Bob can be Nightcrawler or my preferred, a Series 4 card, Nebula, because Nebula with Professor X with Ramp is really, really a powerful lane. So turn 1 is Bob, Maw if Web or War Machine are in hand. Turn 2, Madam Web or Jeff. Turn 3, Luna over Electro is more or less equal to Green Goblin, pending hand. Turn 4, Professor X or Legion if Ramp, War Machine if not. Turn 5 is again when you play Electro decks, you spend turn 5 either doing turn 4 things or turn 6 things. And then turn 6 things is Magneto or Infinite plus a 1. And then turn 5 things is you can still on turn 5 play Professor X or Legion or War Machine. Cool. We're then going to look at 3 decks that run both Luna Snow and Galacta. But first, Robo's 5 AM fun. If you want a deck that's an absolute blast, it'll win a lot, but it's like just so fun. Then you should absolutely play this list if you have Luna Snow. Once more, I do not suggest you buy Luna Snow. We'll talk again about that at the end of the weekend. If you'd like to see gameplay from these decks, check out the stream team. It's Friday, so the Pirate King will be on the stream team playing these decks. So if you want to check out Tuccrr playing these decks, check it out tonight. I don't know how he's going to be awake after doing a freaking million-hour rival stream, but what do I know? Tuck's got it tonight. FaThorNewman's got it tomorrow, and Sunday the great Obihaved. All right, Ava's Dog Core. Ava sent me this list and like, this list is incredible. I cannot win with this list, but the win rate is through the roof, so I'm featuring it for you because some of you can. I don't know why, this is exactly my style, been so bad with this list. But this list is very good. The numbers don't lie. I'm just like every loss it has. We also had Roram send us a very similar list, and rather than separate them, I figured I would just feature them together. Um, I've been saying that a lot of these anti-venom lists have a choice to make between running Malekith and running Frigga. And so the Roram list chooses the Malekith route, while the Ava list chooses the Frigga route. So we should be totally good there, depending on which of those cards you happen to get. You can do without Scarlet Spider, even in the Agent Venom one. Sorry, the Ava one. But yeah, this is just how you play these lists. Cool. We're nice and simple. Everything should be straightforward. We're not going to do replacements here because the replacements are just sort of mix and match as you can. You can find Roram at twitch.tv/RoramBlaze. Wonderful streamer, great person. And Ava streaming all the time at twitch.tv/Avazord, my favorite Brazilian. All right, this deck is sort of mix and match if it's in both as your replacements. So this is one of the top win rate decks for both cards. It was the top win rate deck earlier today. I haven't checked in a few hours, so I can't promise you it still is. But it was the top win rate deck for in Infinite for both of Galacta and Luna Snow. Turn 1, Zabu over Aranya or Bob. Turn 2, US Agent or Pass. Turn 3, Luna or Luke. Turn 4, if you played Luna, you can drop Ajax. If not, Anti-Venom or Malekith or Galacta. Um, or are but generally better than Man Thing. You're going to play Malekith if you're looking for key hits. You're going to play Anti-Venom if you have a really good follow-up. If like all your low cost stuff is in hand, you want to play Anti-Venom to get a powerful thing. Or if you played Luke, you want to play Anti-Venom. And then Galacta is just like your safe play. Galacta and Man Thing, your safe plays. If they're playing a lot of cheap stuff, drop Man Thing. If not, Galacta is just huge. Turn 5, Ajax, or another 4 or Anti-Venom card, and Frigga, and Hazmat. Anti-Venom card, Frigga, Hazmat's one of my favorite plays in Marvel Snap. That you get the extra copy of a zero cost card, and you gave everything negative, but you probably have Luke out, so it works fine. If you're running the Scarlet Spider version and have Scarlet Spider, which few people do, in fairness, it was not a very good card upon release, you must play Scarlet Spider this turn. And then turn 6 is whatever's left. If you have an extra Frigga card, you play that with Ajax. If you want to go Hazmat and Ajax after a Luna, that's one of the better plays. You just sort of dump your hand at the end based on the board. Very cool list. Cosmo is surprisingly well positioned with all the Surfer else everywhere, so props to Ava for coming up with that really good idea. This list is very strong. It doesn't even run Sage, it just puts out points. While Roram's version is more traditional, it runs more tech with US Agent, and it runs that extra power card and Sage, both of which are absolutely great with Malekith, which is how they ended up in this list as opposed to the previous one. Great, great, great decks. Expensive, but really powerful, and some of the top in Marvel Snap as far as win rate goes for these two cards. I wanted to talk about this border bundle. It's terrible. This is 68% progress value. Please don't buy this. Tell Second Dinner we don't want this. Pretty please. This is terrible value. If they want to sell us borders, they need to do a better job of including resources that actually progress people in the game. Finally, we have Ratko's new card stuff. This is a Luna Snow and Galacta deck that does not run Gwenpool. A lot of these are running Gwenpool. Instead, it runs Elsa Bloodstone. And I wanted to feature this Elsa Bloodstone version of the deck. One, because Elsa's really cool. But two, because in their Christmas giveaway, they're giving us a free Elsa Bloodstone. So if you don't have Elsa, you'll just get a free Series 5 card for logging in over Christmas break, which is a pretty good deal. And I want you to have a deck to play Elsa with. So here's our friend Ratko's list. Ratko is the person responsible for all the shorts on the channel. It is, in fact, his gameplay you see on all these shorts. Ratko is also notable for being a finalist in the most recent Snap Judgments League, where he lost to Butt. He's a genuinely phenomenal player and really good person. This deck needs Galacta and Shaw. Red Guardian can be Rogue. US Agent, Elsa, and Grandmaster are just sort of extra stuff. Gwenpool, Juggernaut, Negasonic, Gladiator, whatever. All right, so again, they're giving us Elsa, so we should keep an eye on this list. Turn 1, Pass. Turn 2, Forge over US Agent. Turn 3, Luna Snow over Brood over Elsa. If you Luna Snow, you would really like to Sarah. If you played Brood, you would really like to play Absorb Man. You would otherwise just like to play Galacta. And Galacta into Brood is just an absolutely insane play. Just so you know, Galacta into Brood into Surfer is a 21 power lane, plus whatever else you have there. And if you've got Elsa to put an extra card on top of that, oh boy. All right, reminder, if you have Galacta, you generally want to hold Brood. Turn 5, Sarah or Galacta combo if you play Galacta, Brood, or Shaw. Turn 6, Absorbman and Surfer, or Shaw and Surfer. It's kind of whatever. Also notable for Galacta into Sarah plays, when you make Sarah a 5/7, card's a little bit better. Just saying. Alright, this is Ratko's new card stuff. This just runs a lot of powerful cards in a Surfer shell. I'm trying not to feature a Surfer every day, but again, you are about to get a free Elsa Bloodstone, so if you have Shaw and Galacta, then you should be able to play a deck similar to this and have some really, really powerful Elsa gameplay. Questions of the day. Question 1 is from Deadpool. Is Galacta power creep for Gwenpool? No, I think there's certain decks that want both. Mysterio is still a card in Marvel Snap. Mysterio really prefers Gwenpool. There's still decks like the She-Hulk Double Up that really prefer Gwenpool. So Galacta is really great, but I don't think she's necessarily better than Gwenpool as a static thing. I think the two of them often want to be played together, and they're both extremely powerful. I think Galacta is more immediately powerful than Gwenpool was. It took us time to figure out how to use Gwenpool, but I think, yeah, I don't think it's power creep. Nick the Greek Geek asks what I tell someone who's trying to find a new career in later adult years. All right. I don't know if you're going to like this advice, Nick, but my honest advice is that very few people are lucky enough to consider their job their calling. Find meaning outside of work, and if you're later in life and you can find a way to make a living that's not miserable, I suggest you do so. As long as you can make a decent living, especially later in life. If you're young, spend your time searching for your passion, but as you get older, as you get closer to retirement, and if you would like to retire, finding a job that lets you sort of sit down, relax, and catch your breath does seem like a worthwhile endeavor. Because like I'm 42, and like when I was 25, like being a teacher is extremely important to me. But I'm going to be honest, now that I have a family, now that I'm settled, it's less important to me than it was. I am less driven by the need to be the best at that every day than I was, as other things are more important. And with that the case, I think a job that you love is important, but a job that there's plenty of other ways in life to find meanings outside of capitalism. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. I'm going to say thank you to the great and OG Abigail Leeslin, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Inc., I Am Frostman, J. Navarit, Thinking Poker, Primed Ryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Kertixley, Koire, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrophoros, The Goat Seeker, um, who I saw in the chat today, Hallowed, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe. Check out Snap Decisions. I'll be on that podcast next week. Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Ratko, who we just talked about, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Xorus V, and Skippy G, rhyming friends. Skippy came hang out on the stream tonight too. Jessica Gamble, hey Jess, Tommy Nikos, 2 One Step Judgments League Season 1, The King of Bros, Brup, The Great Kazoo, Kepsi Hoda, Luna Chris, Corwin, John Q, Jim McHugh, and Clam, Colonel Forbin, Yistout, 8th Sage, Models Mod Supreme, The Green Goblin, Unibot, who hung out on stream. Thank you, Uni. Flan56, Steven, Brian Kaufman, who I'm coaching Infinite soon, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, The Fuzzy Dunlop, who I just followed on Twitter, Spectrum X, Hoot, Matt H, the one and only, DJ Mikey, Hijinks, No Frickin' Flex, Ocularis, Mr. Craig Sterry, BG, Zodrax, The King of Canada, Denman Falcon, Jonesy, History Man, Two Ties, The Great Lauren Evs, The Pirate King Tuccrr, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for. We got two great videos on screen for you, and you can sub without leaving by just pressing that button. So don't forget to do so. Thank you so much for watching. See you tomorrow for a podcast and what is very unfortunately going to be a drama video. Love you, Lunacris.